trying to get this live stream up and running here. I think it's working. I think the sound's working.
I am not seeing anything at the moment. Although I can hear some people in the background on your end talking.
Well, that's because some guy just decided to walk down the hallway on his phone, which is completely ridiculous because that's a hallway and you're not supposed to be on the phone in the hallway. And I'm trying to give
Okay,
him the stink eye. Okay, looks like we're on. Hey, everybody.
cool.
So Valmont here. That's Campson over there. Welcome to our live stream of of Storm Wars. Ignore the fact that he's sitting in a dark room and trying to be a ninja or something.
No, no, no. It's not ninja at
You were
all.
making gang signals earlier. I'm glad that our stream wasn't going through. Anyhow, so yeah, welcome to our stream. We are just going to talk today a little bit about some of the new balance that's happening inside of our game. And I hope that you'll ignore the various sounds of people in my hallway next to my office who apparently think that they should be talking in the hallway, which they shouldn't be. Uh, we are
All
going to
right.
do a little bit of trivia during this live stream as well. So if you guys are watching live, you can answer the trivia questions by typing into the Twitch chat. Um, JP, meaning Campson, is monitoring that, and we will
Yep.
give you free stuff in the game if you get trivia right. I just want everybody to take a moment, if you haven't already, to make sure that you are following our channel, subscribing to our channel. We're about to make a big push to mobile, and as we do that, we're going to be advertising more. And when we have a Twitch channel that has a lot of viewers and just a lot of followers and a lot of views, it helps us sell the game. So it means we'll get a lot more players. So we really appreciate that.
Yep. That's right.
I know it is. Anyhow, so welcome to our stream. There have been a lot of changes in the game recently. We might talk a bit about some of those. Obviously, if you guys have any questions for us about the development of the game and about content that's coming soon and where we're going, you can ask that either in the game chat or in the Twitch chat, and we will answer as best we can.
That's right. That's right. So, George, what did you have in mind as far as New Balance? Were you thinking about the heroes, units, new levels for heroes,
Sportswear?
sports, Nike,
No, I
Under
wasn't. No,
Armour?
Nike. They didn't pay their dues of sponsorship, so we're going with New Balance. So welcome to the Diodora Storm Wars. No, I was just thinking that we've changed basically how all the heroes work. Not how they work, but their actual maximum life and card totals. So in this game, let me go to the hero selection screen. As you guys all know, you choose a hero to sort of control your deck, master your troops, and each hero has a different set of abilities and can use a different number of cards and has a different life total. And here are the heroes. As you can see, I'm scrolling through them. Um, we recently increased the hero level cap from level 20 to 30, which means that overall heroes will be more powerful as they level up. And so we made some major adjustments to the maximum life and hit points of each hero as we went in order to sort of just rebalance some things and make it so that some heroes are stronger than others in some capacities. Why are you laughing? Are people commenting on my monotonous tone in the Twitch channel?
No, no. So someone is lamenting at your hero levels.
What? Because they're all on level 20? Every single one of them? Yeah. So I haven't leveled any of them up. What? What? That's interesting. Microsoft Excel decided to open itself on my computer. Uh, Hold on a second. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open something because I want everybody to see this. Oh, you know what? I don't have it on this computer. Never mind. Talk amongst yourselves. I was going to show you a spreadsheet that shows all of the all the hero levels. Suffice it to say that oh, we're so well prepared. Suffice it to say that the orcs and some of the Atlanteans will have a lot of life and a lot of cards, and that's going to be important because as we move forward, we're going to be introducing mechanics that do things like mill cards,
Is that
spells
is
that
that
cost cards out of your deck, and so on and so forth. So it's going to
is
start
it,
mattering.
does that include Luther? Is he also gonna have a lot of life? Because
Luther's life was not, I don't want to say it was nerfed, but it was kept pretty low because
yeah,
he's already so tanky. So he has 30
yeah.
life plus one every level at level 20. So he's going to have 40.
Oh wow.
on
Okay.
level 30. So he was already at 36, I think. So yeah, he's powerful, so he doesn't need powerful cards and abilities.
Okay.
Anyway, statistically speaking, the spread is very well put together. Never mind.
I'm sure it
It
is. I'm
is.
sure it is.
That spreadsheet was going to be so great. Did you know that statistically speaking, 6 out of 7 dwarves aren't happy?
No, I didn't know that. What?
It's a joke. There's
Oh,
seven
okay.
dwarves. One of them's named Happy. 6 out of 7 dwarves. You're so
Oh my
un-American. Have you not seen Snow White?
God. I mean, not since I was maybe 4.
My
Jesus.
God. So
So yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what the hero level changes mean in terms of strategy. And actually, somebody's asking a very apt question from J Tower Defense. Does upping the max hero HP decrease the viability of rush decks? And was that intentional?
yeah, so we want rush decks to be good and usable. Here's the thing. I'm actually using a rush deck, which you will see in the background. I'm in the Coliseum. I'm using a Curie rush deck against a Murheen deck, so you can watch that play out as I talk. But it's important for us to have rush decks be viable. But this is a game where there are 24 different heroes, and if nothing else, those 24 heroes should represent 24 different deck types or deck builds. That would be sort of our maximal um, strategic game depth.
Okay.
Rush decks should, in a nutshell, they should work in some cases and not work in other cases. We don't want them to be useless, but we don't want them to be all powerful. It's very, very difficult for us to actually leverage that because, or rather, to plan that. Let me explain something. I just spent 2.5 weeks with my family not speaking English, so if my English is very poor right now, that's why. So I just use the word leverage for no reason. What I meant to say is basically what we're doing is we are changing some heroes to be exposed to rush decks and some heroes to not be. Otuk is going to have like
Okay.
70 hit points or 80 hit points at level 30. It's going to be very difficult to
Jesus.
rush him. Some other heroes, especially dark elves and so on, are going to have very small amounts of hit points. They're going to be easier to rush. We're doing all of that because we're going to be introducing more rush cards as well as other types of cards as we expand. And so if we increase, the card pool of effective rush cards, especially if they're going to be very strong, we don't want to create a game where you can beat everything with a rush deck. So we have to start out by just really differentiating the heroes a little bit so that the deck strategies moving forward will.
So do you think it's gonna deeply affect the metagame as far as which deck types beat which other deck types in a Rochambeau kind of
Yeah, it
way?
should. Rochambeau being
Okay.
rock, paper, scissors, for those people not familiar with the term. It should. Basically, as I said, rush decks should work in some places and not work in other places. It's very, very difficult when you build a card game specifically not to have rush be overpowered because a rush deck is a type of thing that takes advantage of a mechanic that's part of the game mechanics rather than a mechanic that's part of other card mechanics. So as a result, there's nothing you can really do against it if it's
Okay.
effective. I mean, they're taking advantage of the way the game is played. They're not taking advantage of other cards. So
Okay.
you really, it's very, very easy, and we see it constantly in games that rush decks are overpowered. We're just trying to avoid that. Um, Anyhow, I do want to have feedback from people on whether they think things are too weak or too strong as a result of all of these changes to heroes. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh no, this hero is totally ruined." If you feel strongly about it, post to our forums, write a comment in the thread, in the Twitch channel, write a comment in the game. We'll read it. We'll respond.
Okay.
Anyway, typically what we do on these live streams is we do offer a little bit of trivia for free prizes. So maybe let's do that a little bit, and then if you guys have particular topics that you want us to cover, ask us the questions live in the chat, and we'll get into that. Let's do a
Okay.
trivia question, though. JP, what do you say? Trivia maybe for some gold? Do we have a reasonable number of people in chat who might listen to us?
We do have about 20 plus people in chat that might want to contend for this gold.
Very good. So let's give you 10,000 gold if you are one of the first 3 people to answer the following trivia question correctly. Okay, JP, what's the trivia question?
Oh, don't put me on the spot now.
You don't have any idea what the trivia should be? I'll tell you what the trivia should be. We always have trivia related to the game.
Okay.
I guess if I ask this trivia question, it's eminently Googleable. I guess that's okay. The trivia question will be John Paul's in-game name is
Okay.
originally what? What does it actually mean? The name that he is using right now. Where does it come from? That's the trivia
That,
question.
that's like a difficult. I
It's not
mean,
a difficult question. All they have to do is figure out what your in-game name is, which is pretty easy
okay.
considering it's under your face, and and then look it up on Google.
Okay.
Uh, in any
Well,
event, I want to talk a
and
little bit about the content that's to come because we are releasing for mobile. There's alpha version of mobile that's out right now, and that's only for Android. We hope that you guys will test that out. If you have an Android device, if you have a Google Nexus or a Samsung or anything like that, you can actually play it now. So
so
go to our forums
so
to see how to log
George,
in.
while people are googling my in-game handle, there's a question or maybe a concern. A couple people have voiced about Zoo having such a large deck size. Is that like an IMBA factor?
Why would that be an IMBA factor? Uh,
Well, so Captain Thunderwalker is saying that, for example, the low card count is kind of like a balancing factor for Zoo because Zoo, obviously really has Void or whatever it's called.
Portal.
Void, huh?
She's
Warp,
she,
what?
she
Warp.
summons cards
Yeah, yeah,
quickly.
the warp ability, right? So, low card count kind of counterbalances that. But if you have a large card count, is that not um, imbalanced in some way?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it complements it, so it enables her to actually not run out of cards. So yes, it's a weakness that has been removed, somewhat intentionally. Uh,
Okay.
I mean, if Zoo were overpowered, I would think that that would be an issue. Um, I don't know. Is it the case that people were finding Zoo to run out of cards and losing games as a result before? I didn't really see that in what I was looking at in the metagame. In theory, that could be the case. It's not
Well,
generally. I mean, we align these things a little bit by faction as well. It's generally the case that the Nameless Horde faction, to which Zoo belongs, has a decent amount of cards. I think Saras has the most cards. We still have
hmm.
to give him a couple new abilities. He's still a beta hero. You'll see that beta tag on top of his name when you select him. So yeah, I mean, we can discuss that if people think that that's a necessary balance for her. We can discuss that, but the goal was
all right. What's the answer to the trivia? Because there's like multiple uh, intricate answers.
well, isn't it on you to answer that? I thought that it was basically just a type of wind.
It is a type of wind. So I have an Arabic desert wind.
That's
Good job,
correct.
Stratocumulus. From Choco dry, hot, sandy local wind blowing from the south. I'll take that as well.
So basically, people are just googling this.
Yeah, and then Lily and Jenna says wind blowing in Egypt.
I think those are all correct.
All right, so those guys, you guys all win
Yeah, we won't do any
win
more Google trivia. We'll do actual game trivia.
10K gold.
But that's sort of how we roll. Anyway, so yeah, in general, we are. I probably should have said earlier, and I apologize. I just got off an airplane. That's why I'm a little bit stream of consciousness here. But we are doing these live streams, more and more of them, in an effort to raise awareness a little bit about the game en route to mobile. And we'll have some more planned sessions where we actually talk about the game and introduce it to people with hopefully a wider audience as we get there. But it's important for us to establish a regular stream footprint. We've already done like 6 of them now. As we do that. And as I said earlier in the stream, if you haven't done it already and you're watching us, even if you're watching this not live, if you're watching this after the fact, it would really help us if you would create a Twitch account. It doesn't cost you anything, and follow our Twitch channel. Views and viewers are extremely important for us to be able to advertise the game and thereby have more players, which is good for everybody. So yeah, it's an interesting question about Zoo, and I'm sorry I don't have that spreadsheet on me. I will prepare it for the
Yeah, I mean,
next
and
live
the
stream.
thing is, like, several people kind of chimed in and seemed to agree with that notion. So I don't know if it's something that you thought about.
We can, you know what,
When you
we
actually,
can adjust it if that's what players think. That's not a bad idea. I don't currently see Zoo dominating the metagame, right? So I don't think that she's
right. Well,
overpowered at the
I
moment.
guess that remains to be seen. That remains to be seen.
So let me answer the question maybe a different way, and let's talk a little bit about new content. So we have a few updates that we're planning on bringing to the game soon. We are obviously, in the broader sense, thinking about the next expansion after the Dragons expansion. When we create an expansion, we generally create a lot, and that includes campaign levels and storyline, where basically your party will be exploring a new area of Atlantia, an area of the world, and correspondingly, there's a whole set of new cards with characters and so on that are derived from that place. So, Dragon Isles is a good example of that. The latest part of our campaign is based in the Dragon Isles, which is a separate island from Atlantia. Those are the most challenging quests so far. And then, of course, the Dragon set, which is the expansion set of cards, are derived from that. So here on the campaign map, you can see up northwest of the main map are all these new quests, Dragon Isles, and then back here in the shop, you'll see what I'm talking about. If we head over to the packs, this Dragons pack here, this is our current expansion. As you can see, it's a gem only pack. So we are thinking about an expansion. We probably will do a couple things before we do that. We are thinking about, and of course this is alongside the mobile, we will do the expansion, but I think that before we do that, we want to enhance crew rewards just a little bit, because right now crews are basically our game's version of factions, where different player groups all work together and play PvP against other crews. So this is a list of crews here, as you can see. And the crew rewards, which are in this tab, are unique cards that you can buy for the rewards that you get in your crew battles. But these are sort of getting old and entering the metagame, and many of the top crews have unlocked all of them. So we want to revamp a little bit of the system and add new crew cards. That's one of the pieces of content we want to do. We have to sort of think about how to do that. Because right now the system of skulls and honor points is not working great. And then we also are thinking about,
What do you think is the drawback there?
well, we can get into that in a second, but let me just quickly say
Okay.
that we also want to create a reward system for tournaments that's specific to tournaments. People are not playing tournaments enough. Tournaments are more fun when more people are in it. So if you go here to the arena, which is our basic area for PvP, there's this tourneys tab. Right now there's 10 players in the current tournament. For example, we'd like to have 30, 40, 50 players in every tournament. So one way to do that is to create unique rewards for tournaments, and we're thinking about doing that as well. Similar to crew cards, but actually probably handled a little bit differently. I don't want to spoil anything on that before we really make decisions, but I'm guessing it's going to be like a special tournament pack that has unique cards in
Okay.
it. That being said, let's go back to the crew question here. Right now, the way it works is you see up here, I have skulls and honor points. And these are two different currencies. The skulls are related to the crew itself, the success of the crew. The more the crew succeeds, the more skulls it has. The skulls stays at a consistent level, and the more skulls you have, the more cards you unlock in the cards store, rather the rewards section of the crews. You
Right.
see this card that I don't have in my crew yet unlocks at 700 skulls. Our crew has 693. So once the crew achieves 700, this card will be unlocked and available to me as a crew member for purchase. Then, once something's unlocked, I can purchase a copy of it by paying some honor points and some gems. Obviously, the price increases based on the rarity and therefore the strength of the card. So these are cards that we've already unlocked and which I have options for, and I have a whole bunch of honor points saved up. Honor points I earn every time I fight in crew battles, so that's a personalized currency. You can see here I have 100 honor points. In other words, I have a whole bunch to spend. I've been saving up. Anyhow, so that's pretty much how it works right now. The issue with that is that sort of the wealth, the rich become richer, because the space between skull amounts that top crews have gets bigger and bigger and bigger every week. Every week, as you can see here, crews are ranked. The ranking doesn't change very quickly over time, and the top crews are continuing to get a prize of skulls and honor on top of gems. So they're just continuing to have a bigger and bigger lead as we go across time. And that would be fine if the crew rewards unlocked themselves at greater and greater amounts of skulls, because it would mean the top crews would constantly have 2 or 3 cards more than everyone else in terms of access. But right now they're getting 5, 6, 7, 8 more cards than the 10th place crew, simply because that exponential growth of skulls. So we need to look at that system and change it. And so we will do something about that when we introduce new crew cards. So again, new content coming would be crew cards and tournament express
when do you
prizes.
think new crew cards will be coming out, and what happens with the old crew cards? Do they revert into the regular pool of cards
Yeah,
at that
I'd be
point?
interested for feedback or opinions from players on what we should do about that. I don't really have an answer because we're thinking about it. We have a lot of options on the table. I'm not really sure. It's difficult to know how we should manage the system. Maybe we should have 2 systems standing next to each other at the same time, where a crew earns up to 1,000 skulls in the old system, and once they get to 1,000 skulls, they enter the new system or something like that. Otherwise, we're going to have to kind of reset everything, and it might be annoying for
And then,
crews that are sort of in the middle of the current system. Or we might just take the old crew cards and stick them into a new system, and that will be annoying for top crews who have already unlocked them and basically have to unlock them again. But we'll come up with something that we think is fair. And this is your opportunity before we introduce content. If you're a player, to say what you think should happen on the forums. You can talk to me directly in the game. I'm there all the time, and we can take it from there. But I think we
right,
do need to change the system a little bit so it's more fair for
right.
everybody. Anyhow.
Yeah. Well, I think people are confident that you'll come up with something intelligent.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're confident until I come up with something, and then they all get mad. No, I'm kidding. But there's a lot of people care about the game, and when changes are made, understandably people can be upset. So we always try to balance fairness with what people want. What crew are you
Yeah.
in right now, JP?
I'm in ODM.
ODM here, 5th place crew. My crew is in 8th place here.
Okay.
So interesting, interesting.
Weren't you in Valhalla?
I was in Valhalla, true to my name, but I was kicked out for an activity. No, no. I mean, just like to be a little bit of a journeyman and jump around and play alongside other players and so on. And some of the guys in Valhalla are very, very strong, capable players, and I'm not always capable of keeping up. And also, as a
Right.
developer, sometimes I like to see what's happening in the sort of at the middle levels rather than just the top level.
No,
So
that's a good point.
that, and
That's a
then
good.
also people were upset. No. It's annoying to have a developer play in a top crew as well. It's not particularly
Anyway,
fair.
I encourage everyone that has ideas like what George said. Post on the, I guess the Kong forums is the best place to post about the
Definitely.
stuff, right, George? Yeah, post on the Kong forums what you think. Captain Thunderwalker, for example, says you can have the 2 systems coexist, like what you mentioned, George.
We
Old
can. It's
systems
just
up,
that A,
what's
that's
up.
confusing, and B, it's probably a little bit more coding on our end and implementation. And our biggest factor
Yeah,
here is trying to do things effectively and efficiently, because we have limited bandwidth in terms of our tech team, in terms of what we're actually able to
yeah.
do. So
But
we need to be
it's
smart about that.
people have good ideas, and we definitely want to hear what they are. So go ahead and post that up, and then let us know what you think.
Anything, yeah, any kind of tips, where you can buy good light bulbs might be good advice for John Paul. Beard growing tips, things like that.
That's
Shirts that
right.
don't camouflage your name.
I
There's all
definitely
kinds of.
need those.
Anyway, so JP is actually joining us from Greece. I am on the East Coast of the United States. If you guys have some feedback also about the timing of our live streams, we try to do it at a time that's convenient for both Europe and the United States, and to an extent Asia, but obviously we can only cover so many markets. So if this time is not good for you, roughly midday on the East Coast of the United States, roughly 1800 GMT or 1700 GMT, you can let us know that too.
So, George, have you thought up a new trivia question yet?
Have I?
Yeah.
I suppose I suppose I could come up with a trivia question. Let me look at my chests here. You see, I have a gold chest and three silver chests. How about as a trivia question, name? I think I can come up with a pretty good trivia question here. Name an object that is possible to find in an epic chest, but not in a gold chest.
And an epic chest, but not in a
In
gold
Storm Wars. Just
chest.
name any object that's possible to find in an epic chest or in a gold chest. Just type that answer into trivia. If you get that right, I will give you 3 glowstones. First 3 people to get it right.
Ooh, that's worth 20
I don't think it's worth that much.
20
Is
gems.
it worth 20 gems? Well, it's worth 20 gems in
Yep.
terms of buying them in the store.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's where I get my glowstones. All right. Well, we have 3 answers for diamond, which I think is
Diamond
correct.
is correct. Diamonds are very, very rare. I think I only have one. Let's see if I do. So
So
one of the cool
yeah,
things
congrats,
about
guys.
yeah, congrats everybody.
Karmic, just so it's Karmic, Captain Thunderwalker, and Herr Sky Marshal.
Hersky. Congrats, guy.
Isn't it
Yeah,
Herr
I think it's
Sky,
hair. It
like
probably
Mr.
is like
Sky?
Mister. Yeah, that's
Or
right.
it's not Hersky, it's Herr Sky Marshal. I mean, it's like a German something.
Okay, fine. Sorry. I always thought it would be really funny if your name was
Hersky.
Mr. Transplant and you went to Germany and they called you hair transplant. Never mind.
Sorry. Oh my God, George.
I'm just saying, I thought it was funny. Never mind. I actually.
That would have been funny before you went to Germany. I mean, like, your
Yeah,
name is
all right,
Transplant.
fine. Actually, you know what's a very common last name in India is Pai, but I'll let you figure that one out for yourself.
Okay.
Anyway, congrats to you 3 guys. We'll run another trivia question in a few minutes for some gems. Anything else we need to cover? So we're going to do this mobile launch. We're going to do a little bit of a marketing push, hopefully get some players. If that's successful, we'll move into iOS, which is the Apple version of mobile. And at the same time, we're going to be doing new crew cards and a little bit of an adjustment of the crew system and new unique to tournament rewards. I'm
Okay.
not sure there's too much else to announce in terms of content. We obviously, in a larger sense, are thinking about an expansion and working on that in the background, but that's probably going to follow. And I expect that
One
that will
thing
be a
about
sort of reasonable size expansion like the Dragons with 60 or 70 cards in it, but that'll come afterwards.
one thing about tournaments, I tend to see that people join in like the last like 30 minutes
Yeah.
because they're trying to wait and see how many people are going to join and trying to gauge it out. Do you think that's disruptive? It's okay. It's dysfunctional, or what do you think about that?
Well, I'd be curious for player feedback on whether they think that the system needs to change.
Personally, I mean, I think it's kind of weird because like I want to play tournaments, but I don't always time it so that I'm right at the end of the tournament when everyone's going to be active,
Right.
and so I don't want to join the tournament and have to not fight anybody and then have to leave and then I'll
That's a
come
fair
back
point.
and
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that are going into that. Part of it, what it is that um, when you play against a player who has a high ranking and you beat that player, you get more ranking points. So it makes sense to wait for a whole bunch of people to have high rankings because you only have a limited number of tries in a tournament. So if you
Mhm.
just wait until the end when everybody has high ranking points, that's the timing that matters anyway because you see the final rankings and you know where you are, but you also are being more efficient with your battles. So we maybe need to rethink that system a little bit. What most games do is they have an energy system. So an energy system means that you can only attack every so often anyway. And
Yeah.
then you sort of your time will expire and what have you. So if we adjusted it that way, tournaments would be a little bit more annoying in the sense that you'd have to be more active to play in them, but they might run better. So we'll probably come up with a happy compromise. That's another type
Yeah.
of
I
thing that
mean,
I'm happy to have feedback from players on.
right. I mean, people have ideas about this. People are saying, for example, in chat, like, have set times. So you have like 1 hour to enter, 1 hour to play, no entering once play starts. Yeah, basically have an entry period and a fight period and have those be separate. Some, stuff like
That's an
that.
interesting idea. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. 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 Which I think makes sense. I think that makes sense. Would you think about having tournaments going simultaneously, different tournaments going simultaneously, or does that not really feasible?
Well, a lot of this has to do with participation. I mean, our structure, our tournament structure right now, is ideal when we have at least 20 players in because of the way the rewards are distributed. There's a buy-in, and then there's a prize pool, which is distributed amongst players. We need at least 20 players in the tournament in order for the amount of gems going into the tournament to equal the amount of gems coming out, and then beyond that, the rewards increase. So we don't have enough participation in our every 4 hour tournaments in the first place to just at the moment because we're still pretty small to have lots and lots of tournaments or have shorter windows of tournaments. But I actually think that once we introduce tournament packs, like unique rewards for tournaments and things like that, we may very well end up with larger tournament participation, which as a result will enable us to create more tournaments and have more running at the same time. So,
Well,
it's a matter
I'll
of how many
encourage
players are in
people
there.
because there are several good ideas. I think there are good ideas in chat. So
Okay, yeah, look,
again,
we always
encourage people
annotate in chat, and
to post these up because I can't kind of go through all of them. But there's some ideas around, especially around draft, where you could autoplay battles round robin and automate some of it. So
that's interesting.
post those up in the forums, and George will definitely have a look at it.
I absolutely
Um,
will. I promise.
there's back to the New Balance question because again, Captain Thunderwalker is posting some stuff about the question about which heroes you think took the biggest hit from the level 30
Yeah,
boost,
look,
change level 30.
this is a great question.
Uh,
Look, some heroes definitely took a hit, but I promise everybody that those heroes that took a hit, and it's things like elves, which have much lower amounts and so on. Uh, the thing, the uh, the thing about that is a longer term plan. So we do have content that's coming very soon, actually, new cards which are going to help us change a little bit of the metagame. And
okay,
things that are weak are probably weak at the moment because they're going to have good cards and have a new presence in the metagame. At least that's our goal.
okay,
So we want Amariel to be weak in terms of hit points. We want Sidalis to be weak in terms of hit points and so on because we think that those elves are going to have other advantages.
okay.
Is the short of it. So yeah, I totally get it.
What's the what's the timing around that? Timing for these new cards coming
Well,
out, or
I have some design documents put together, and I'll be talking with Storm about that probably later today and tomorrow. If we agree on all the design, we'll probably put it in order for art in the next 2 or 3 days. Art usually takes about a week. Once the
okay,
art's in, it usually takes 2 or 3 days to finish implementation. So two
yeah,
weeks maybe.
cool.
Maybe faster than that. I don't exactly know, but that's my guess.
That actually sounds very fast
It's
from
pretty.
concept to
It's pretty fast.
execution.
It's pretty fast. Well, the concepts are already all there. I have all the design together. It's more a matter of what parts of the metagame to introduce right now. It's
Okay.
also going to be the design part of it that's still happening is exactly how the packs work and exactly how the crew rewards work and that kind of stuff.
Do you feel like the metagame at the moment is very specific? As in
It's
what's like the winning, like the one winning combination is like very very
Well,
narrow, or
Luther
do you
is, I mean, Luther is the most dominant. I mean, you can see here just in my arena, which is a random selection, there's a lot of Hylock and a lot of Luther. There's a little bit of Amariel. Those are really the three heroes, but it's mostly
well
Hylock and
those
Luther.
are those are defense decks. So I mean, and I don't know because I don't play at that high level, but do the offense decks are they basically the same? It's the same heroes with similar cards?
Uh, so this is a great question, and I get this all the time. We have statistics that show us all of the decks that everybody has. So most veteran players have like 10 deck slots. Some even have 12 or 13. We can
Okay.
see what your decks are, and specifically we have statistics that show us which heroes are you using in all your decks. Now, when we introduce a hero update where everybody's grinding for experience, sometimes what heroes people are using is thrown off a little bit because they're obviously just trying to level things up. But in terms of
Right.
attack decks, it is broad. Our metagame is broad. People are using all kinds of heroes and all kinds of decks for attacking. But
Hmm.
defense is
They're
where
very
we see,
specific for
yeah,
defense.
defense is where we see the fact that the attacker always chooses the hero means that on defense, you can't have a hero who's easy to counter. And almost every hero is easy to counter. Actually, ideally, all heroes
Except
should be easy to counter because we want things to be polar so that the options are varied. That's how you create a balanced game. The problem is that we need to come up with a different method than the fact that the attacker always chooses the matchup in order for us to really, really have good game balance. So we're going to have to, that's a design question for the longer term that we have to address. So we will do that as well. Um,
huh, that's interesting.
yeah, we need to have
So
some
you
kind
mean
of game mode where
like
it's not always the attacker that's
going
choosing the matchup.
going into the going into a battle without knowing what your opponent's hero is, for example?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how that would play out. Maybe it's not knowing, or maybe it's being able to strategize in a different way. Or maybe it's just a different game mode, or maybe it's that you can't choose your defense and that you just have 10 decks and one of your decks is the one that somebody faces in the arena, something like that. But
Huh,
it does need to
interesting.
change because
Interesting.
our game has wonderful balance, but our game has wonderful balance across all the heroes and across all the deck types. The reality is you're only playing against a very limited selection of those things because of the way people are selecting defense, and that is just not a good use of the content. It's not a good use of the balance and of the mechanics,
Hmm.
unfortunately. So maybe that's fine for crew that you can choose your defense because then it becomes a strategy. But we've got to find a
Right.
way for people to be able to play against more variety of decks. Anyway, so that's what's on my mind. Again, if you
Okay.
guys want to have a discussion about this, head on over to the forums and make a comment, and we will,
Okay.
you know,
Stratocumulus believes that he says lots of my decks don't counter Luther or Hyluck because of Niven. I guess that's probably an old complaint.
well, I
You've
mean,
talked about Niven in the past.
yeah, look, Niven is a strong card, but Niven is limited in his own right. And I'm not talking specifically about him, but in general, when there is a card that's very strong, we are aware of that. We see it in our statistics and we see it in the metagame, and we generally like to steer the metagame not too strongly away from a card. We never want to make a counter, but we like to broaden it as much as possible. So, we do have things like Glasha who recently was updated to be ranged creatures, and we may have some other cards that help fight against Niven in the future. I'll just put it that
Okay.
way.
Is it time for a third trivia,
I think
George?
it is. I've put up here on the screen our forums just so you can see these. This is our congregate version of the game. We will probably eventually have something more general because we're expanding other networks, but for the moment, congregate is the place to be. And this is where you would put up a new thread or respond to one of our threads, or really reach out to us if you're not seeing us in game. So please, put your comments and thoughts there. I will hop my screen back over. And yeah, I think we can do a last trivia question. Let's do a big trivia question, which
Ooh,
means what should we give? 20 gems out to the top 3 correct answers. 20.
twenty
Let's make
gems.
it 25 gems even. How's that? A free Coliseum
Oh,
for you.
oh my God, that's
25 gems for top
very.
3 correct answers. JP, what topic would you like us to ask about?
I promise I won't message the correct answer to my crewmates.
You are fired. Yeah, that's a good point. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I don't do
Don't be
that.
a cheater.
I don't. Yeah, sure. That sounds great. What do you have something lined up?
I don't have something lined up. I asked you for a topic. All right, let's
Oh,
think.
you asked me for a topic. Why don't I'll pick the faction and you pick
No,
the
okay,
question.
yeah, you pick the faction and I'll pick the question. Go ahead.
All right, faction is spider people.
Spider people. What trivia question can I ask you about the spider people? Okay. Um, well, how about this? The spider people. Hmm. Thanks. Now you're putting me on the
Uh,
spot.
that,
Uh,
all right, just pick whatever you want.
let's think. Okay, here's a spider people question for you. Tell me what. Tell me what the name a skill for me that only cards in the Spider People faction have that no other card in any other faction has? That will be the trivia question. If you can answer that correctly, one of the first 3 people, you will get 25 gems. Does that make sense, JP? Can you think of one or two? I can only think of one right now off the top of my head. Are you paying attention? Did I mute you accidentally?
I'm reading. No, I'm reading
You're reading the chat.
the,
People are saying,
I'm
"Who is
reading-
that nerd next to Sir Valamont? Who's that nerd-looking guy?" Cam, he needs to shave his eyebrows. Those kinds of comments.
You mean the eyebrow?
He needs to shave. He needs to cut his hair, and I'm only talking about one of them.
All right. I have several answers. So I'm going to go through the list because I actually don't know which ones are unique to
The Spider People.
Spider People. So paralyze.
Paralyze. Interesting. That's not. I mean, okay. Paralyze is a status. It's not actually a skill. The skill would be the skill that's associated with it would be web. That would be a correct answer.
All right. So web is a correct answer. Good job, the farmer Bob. What about venomous?
Oh, that's a good point. Is anything other than Spider People venomous? Isn't there an imp that's venomous?
I'm not sure.
Imp is Nameless Horde. I guess it has poison spit. That's not technically venomous. Pending me looking that up, we will say that's a correct answer.
Okay, what about net?
Net is definitely a correct answer. How about Bane?
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking of Bane. Bane is an obvious one.
Acid blood came up a little bit later.
I guess there's a whole lot of them. Okay, well, that was the trivia question. All right, congrats to the top 3 people that JP just named. You will get 25 gems each.
All right, so
those prizes will be awarded to your account sometime later today. We've taken notes, and it will take a moment, but we'll get there.
All right, so Save Feed, the Farmer Bob, and Captain Thunderwalker. Good job.
Thanks, guys. And by the way, if you have answered a trivia question correctly and your Twitch name is different from your in-game name, please take a moment to tell us in the chat what your in-game name is. I may already know, but it'll be very, very helpful.
Apparently your trivia was pretty bad, George, because there were so many correct answers.
My trivia is pretty bad. I apologize. But that's because you came up with a dumb topic. All right, well, I'll prepare trivia for next time. Just got off an airplane today. I apologize. Anyhow, so that's basically going to be our stream for the most part.
Unless you guys had some last questions or some other
please feel free to ask.
Topic you wanted to raise George with. See what I did? Raise George.
The Jeopardy music. What did you say? Race? What?
Raise you as in like burn you.
Oh well, that's nice. What a jerk. Yeah, don't do that. It is exciting times. I mean, we're fast approaching a lot of new content, and so I look forward to exploring all of that with players. In the meantime, I suggest you guys grind and try to level up your heroes in preparation for these things. And just as a general point, I am always trying to make every single hero useful. So if you see a hero that you think is weak right now or underpowered, leave a comment on the forum. Maybe you can convince me to buff that hero. I may be buffing a couple of heroes pretty soon, but first I'm going to see how everything balances. Yeah?
Let me interrupt you real quick, George, just because I didn't announce the winners. So there are multiple correct answers, including, and the first 3, these are the winners because they were the first 3, Venomous, Web, and Net.
Right.
So, yeah. And so the winners are Save Feed, the Farmer Bob, and Captain Thunderwalker. Just wanted to say that in chat. And so we have a question actually from Akrat. You see an Ashkar plus Rap Stabs plus Pike Thrower spam with 83 HP. Most heroes are going to die even if they kill them instantly due to them attacking once.
He's saying that that's a very strong deck?
I guess so. Ashkar plus Rap Stabs plus Pike Thrower spam with 83. Right, okay.
Well, that's true. But don't forget that orcs don't have that many cards in their decks. That's one of their balancing points. So, we're going to be introducing cards pretty soon that mill. So a mill deck would be able to beat that deck pretty handily. But yes, I mean, look, I
Okay.
want Pike Thrower, Ashkar decks to at least be useful. So I'm aware of that.
Okay.
I have open here, by the way, in the background, the SWAG, SWAG, the Storm Wars Analytics Guide, which is something that you guys can find on our forums. This is also a pretty decent place to do things like answer our trivia questions. You see that every card is listed and rated and ranked based on its card strength. This is not official in the sense that it's something I put together personally and something that I use when I think about card mechanics and so on, so it gives a little bit of insight. These are not actual card strengths, but they're just my opinion on what's strong. So if that's a useful tool, please feel free to check it out. It also is a way that you could very rapidly answer the trivia question I just asked, because you can just search for spider people and filter and so on and so forth. For example, right now I can just check whether Venomous belongs to anything other than a spider person by searching for it. I see that Prince Saval has it, Wallcrawler has it, Wolf Spider has it, and my Kojun Puffer has it. So yes, it is only spider people. It was a correct answer.
All right. I just posted that in chat for everyone that isn't familiar with it.
Thanks. Anyhow, so that's probably going to wrap it for this particular
Okay.
stream. Thank you guys for
Yeah.
watching as always. Thank you for participating. One last time, I'm going to tell you to please subscribe to our channel. The more subscribers that we have, the better we can advertise, even though we're just doing these small sessions en route to something bigger. When we do the serious marketing, people will look at our channel, and if they see a lot of subscribers, they will be more willing to watch. That'll help us all get players.
Right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your ideas. I going to reiterate that the best place to put the ideas are in the forums, because that way we can get discussion with more players, get more people to look at them, and hopefully get those implemented in the game.
Exactly.
Provided that they stand the test of scrutiny.
I'm sure they will.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah,
they mostly will.
thanks everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arab Wind. That is Campson. This is Sir Valmont, I guess, signing off.
That's right. Later, guys.